Nowadays, our Indian central government planning to withdraw investments made in public sector undertakings, that is central public sector enterprises. After independence, Indian government has invested lakhs of crores of rupees in public sector undertakings to promote industrialization. At that time, Indians were incapable to establish major projects. Nearly 50 years of independence, Indians has got capacity to install, to establish infrastructure projects also. Indian entrepreneurs are enjoying the confidence of not only Indians but also globally because of their best performance. Now let us see what about the government investments made in various public sector undertakings. Many of those units are non-operative or closed or performing in losses. For the reason of losses, non-performing, the government wants to disinvest the shares held with the public sector undertakings. Nearly, the central government is having investments in more than 225 public sector undertakings, in which nearly 12 lakhs to 13 lakhs crores of rupees was invested by the governments at various stages, at various periods, during many periods. Now the government wants not to carry on the business as a policy. So the central government wants to disinvest, means withdraw the investments made in public sector undertakings. So this is causing, I think in our opinion, this disinvestment may cause huge loss to the central government, because many of the public sector undertakings are non-performing or performing in losses. Only some units are performing and profitably. So everybody wants to take over only the profitable units. Even if it is a private company, private investor, they want to take over only profitable public sector undertakings, but not interested in non-performing or loss-making companies. Loans payable to banks and financial institutions. Now, what is the present situation is such a way that the government, all the public sector undertakings are having huge amount of lands only. Buildings might have been collapsed or in the verge of collapse. Machinery not usable. So now the only asset left with public sector undertakings is land. Now what needs the government to do? Get better value for its shares invested many years back to encourage industrialization in India. We suggest the government should think of converting the non-performing or loss-making or closed public sector undertakings as revive all those units, make it survived and perform profitable before going for disinvestment for better price. Now Indians are also having lot of confidence in Indian entrepreneurship, management capacity, which is globally accepted, and as well as Indians are also having sufficient funds capable to invest to finance the large capital projects, because we have seen in many cases many of the issues, public issues of our IPOs has been subscribed more than 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, sometimes even 100 times also it was oversubscribed. So this is evident that there are sufficient funds in the market and there are sufficient number of investors who are ready to invest large projects also as shareholders. What is the procedure the government needs to adopt to get better price for the shares invested long back? Now, since the revalue, number one is revalue. Since all the PSUs are having a huge amount of lands, the lands can be revalued with present market values and estimate the price that can be achieved. Based on that revalue price, government can estimate the value of its shares. Then the government can invite the private participants for working capital, machinery and repayment of loans also. Next, management. What the present management should? You change the present management, because the managements under the government are generally not commercially profitable. They may not perform to the extent of expected performance by the as commercial institutions. So first thing is to change the management from administrative management to profitable management, commercially viable management, and make the management responsible, accountable, efficient to convert all the PSUs as profitable. If it is not, if it is performing in losses, if it is closed, revive it. If it is performing profitable, you ensure more profits to the organization. Next, funds. How the funds can be obtained to revive these units. As already stated, the government should not invest even a single rupee now. Only thing is, allow the private participants with investments and management capacity as to meet the cost of machinery, working capital and repayment schedule as per loans agreed to financial institutions and other working capital needs and infrastructure required to make the PSU performing. Next is how to sell the shares. At what time the government can go for sale of shares, means withdraw the investments or disinvestment. First, before going for disinvestment, the government should ensure that all the public sector undertakings are performing with profits. If it is closed, revive it. If it is non-performing, make it perform. If it is running in losses, you make it profitable. Then only you go for sale of shares for better price. If only people will be interested to take the shares of profitable units only, that will ensure better price to the government, so that the long period waiting period will get better price for its investment. Next, profitability. As stated earlier, postpone disinvestment until the PSU is transformed as profitable PSU. Otherwise, the shares will be sold at the throwaway price, even though the land's value is very huge. So, to avoid that situation, the PSU should be converted as a policy. The PSU should be converted as profitable before making disinvestment. Next is bonds. How to meet the working capital requirements or machinery cost or repayment of loans to financial institutions. So, the government can consider to issue bonds to finance the PSUs only for the purpose of dedicated purpose of bonds. The bonds can be issued by the government organization and promised to repay on maturity, and that fund should be used to make the PSU revived and perform profitably, and it will reduce the financial administration cost levied by banks and financial institutions. That may be around 2 to 3% per year. Many Indians are ready to invest in shares as well as bonds issued by the government, since the bonds repayment is guaranteed by the government and longer period is available. So, earlier Air India has issued bonds to repay the loans, invited applications for 1,000 crores, but it could get 20,000 crores as per bonds. That is 20 times more than the expected. So, that is the capacity of Indian investors who can contribute to the bonds issued by the government. That is the confidence of the Indians on government. And also globally also investors will be ready to contribute to subscribe for the bonds issued by the special purpose of financing the PSUs. Next, financial institutions. Since majority of the public sector undertakings have borrowed loans from banks and financial institutions, they also will, the financial institutions also will feel happy since their loans will be recovered, and some accounts may be settled, OTS one-time settlement, that will reduce the pressure on financial institutions also. Their loan accounts will become liquid assets to provide more and more loans to other sectors. Next, number of PSUs. With this approach of inviting investments from public and private participants to meet working capital, machinery and repayment of loans, some of the PSUs may be converted, may be transferred to private management and will become profitable in a shorter period because of the efficiency and perfect performance, accountable, responsible management of the PSUs. Next, avert losses. With this process, the government can avert losses on sale of shares also, because the government has invested maybe around immediately after independence, maybe 50-60s, after a period of 50-60 years, if you are getting the same price, it is meaningless. So, the government should consider to transform all these assets as profitable first, all the PSUs as profitable, and then only the government can get better price, best price for its longer period investment, and that will ensure more profits to the government for its long period waiting, and also encouragement to industrialization also. Next, history. Rectification step required is whatever the irregularities, mistakes, misdeeds done by the earlier managements has to be brought to the notice, and the concerned people has to be acted upon, and made responsible and accountable for their irregularities, misdeeds and mistakes and anything done during their period. So what is the image? Then what is the benefit of this approach? Indian investment destination image will continue and flourish further because of converting the closed PSUs also as reviving those units, making profitable if it is running in losses, and more profitable which are running in profits. So that will encourage, that will add value to the image of India as an investment destination. These are some of our suggestions that may be considered by the government before going for disinvestment of shares in public sector undertakings.